Hello, this is Virtual the Chess Noob, learning and having fun with chess. The Scotch game is an excellent opening for white, especially at the beginner intermediate level. And as someone who plays e5 against e4 when with the black pieces, the Scotch game used to, frighten me a little bit because I just simply didn't do that well against it. Today, I'm going to show you how to crush the Scotch game with the Steinitz Variation, named after the first world chess champion, Wilhelm Steinitz. The Scotch game, of course, begins with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and then the immediate forward advance of the pawn, cracking open the center, d4. Now let's have a look now from black's perspective. So against that central advance, of course, we should take, and we do, and commonly white will continue with knight captures back with the pawn. Now in this position, I previously played the bishop. However, the killer move here, particularly at the beginner intermediate level, is queen to d4. The Steinitz Variation. I'm going to quickly show you my stats on chess.com, and as you can see, I have played 16 games from this position, and of the Steinitz Variation games, I have won or drawn every single one. Of the 16 games, I've won 15, drawn once. I have literally never lost with the Steinitz Variation. And when you compare to some of the other possible moves, they're much closer to 50-50. It really is a fantastic opening. So back to the game. So the idea here of the Steinitz Variation is that we are telling white that they are overcommitted. They have overcommitted with the aggressive attack in the center, and now they can't properly defend their king or the e4 pawn. In fact, it almost looks like we can win that by force. Now, the most common move here for white is that they will try to defend the pawn with the knight, which is what they did. My opponent did in this game, but we now have the bishop to b4, pinning the knight to the king. This is the modern variation, and very commonly here white will no longer play accurately, and we will potentially melt the Scotch opening. So in this game, my opponent played bishop, did a bishop move, seemingly sensible, bishop to c4. This is not the refutation line. I'm not going to show you what the refutation is. Have a quick look at one of my other videos. But the refutation is not obvious, it's difficult to find, and if you didn't already know it as white, odds are you will never find it naturally in the game. Now here, the e4 pawn is straight up hanging because, as I said, that knight is pinned. So queen takes with check. In this position, my opponent decides to block with the bishop. Sensible looking move. This is an inaccuracy. This is now -3. What white should have done was to block with the queen and immediately force the queen trade. By blocking with the bishop, this is now hanging. The g2 pawn, queen takes. And my opponent now makes the final game-ending blunder. Again, ostensibly sensible-looking move. Bishop to d5, attacking the queen. Looks like it's defended by the knight, and also X-ray defense of the rook. But that knight is not defending, because if you remember, it is pinned to the king. So the Steinitz Variation just potentially induces errors for the player with the Scotch game. Here, my queen captures that bishop. I am now +5 material, up 2 pawns and a full piece. Basically, my goal here now is just to potentially force peace trades. Don't try to blunder something and then potentially move towards a winning endgame. The Steinitz Variation, as I said before, just melts the Scotch game opening. Now, my opponent actually plays really quite well here. So this is the right move, attacking that sort of potential weakened pawn. I take, I want to force trade, take back, queen with check. They move the bishop out of the way. Defend. They want to trade queens. Not quite yet. Let's take that. Let's take that knight. They take. Here, potentially, if they take, I can potentially, capture back with development. That's what I was looking for. They take. That's fine. So let's trade queens, capture, move my knight now, and here, develop. Potentially, I could short castle. They attack my knight. I counterattack their bishop. Attack the bishop again. They take. I take. Pretty happy with that. They take. Move my bishop back. And here, white's maneuvering well because they managed to get a passed pawn, and that passed pawn goes all the way to the 7th rank. It's, causing some real problems for me, but fundamentally upper piece is upper piece, and I managed to maneuver this, and at this point, black is fine. I am completely fine. I can just take that free pawn. That forces them to trade rooks. I want to trade, capture. They capture back. Here, counterattack, forcing, sort of some tempo. Bring my bishop back. Don't get trapped on that side. And now this passed pawn will never promote, blocking its advance. They try to move the king here. It's just not fast enough because the bishop now takes that passed pawn. And, trades, endgame, upper full piece. Done. And here, white opted to resign. Good game, GG. My big takeaway from this game is to learn the Steinitz variation and crush the Scotch game with black. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.